And what this war has basically done is it's created an energy crisis. It's humiliated us geopolitically because we can't even defend our allies that we claim to defend. It's made us look like clowns, and then we're spending an enormous amount of money to fight this war, like $2 billion a day. So strategically speaking, we are losing this war because we are worse off right now than we were prior to the war. And now we're trying to negotiate for pre-war conditions. Anytime you're trying to negotiate for pre-war conditions, you lost the war. You know, conflict, strategic warfare, etc. Like, they're all saying this is a big L for the United States. Basically, all the wars in the Middle East, bro, are fought for benefit. Like, Israel wants to be a hegemon in the Middle East. They have an enormous amount of lobbying power in the United States, an enormous amount of representation at higher levels, and they lobby our politicians to fight wars in the Middle East for the benefit of, you know, under the guise of national security.
That's something that I need to look into, because like from birth, I have been like, if I'm on a plane and there's someone with a turban on, I'm like, okay, so in case it goes sideways, let me get near the emergency.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with stereotyping people. I do it too. You know, if I see a guy that's a fellow Arab, I'm like, oh, so I get it, and I totally understand that. But I do think that it's important, and I wish more Americans like understood Middle Eastern foreign policy and understood like what's really going on over there in the Middle East. And a lot of it, right, is like propaganda, dude. Like, there's been like an insane push from the lobby to push like anti-Muslim propaganda and be like, oh yeah, these guys are the enemies, they're trying to kill us, blah, 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 all this other shit. But like, if we're going to be very honest, bro, the real people that are like the radicals are actually the, like, a lot of people don't know this. October 7th, one of the reasons October 7th happened was because the are trying to destroy a mosque in Jerusalem called the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This mosque is the third holiest site in all of the Islamic faith. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to rebuild the third temple, and they imported a bunch of red cows from Texas, your home state, that they plan to slaughter to bring their Messiah, right? And they'll sit there and they'll say, oh yeah, these guys over in Iran are crazy radical clerics, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair. But you guys literally are trying to destroy a mosque, start a war in the Middle East, start all these problems. You guys are passing legislation to Palestinians, right? Like, these are actually the real radical religious crazy nut jobs. It's just that no one ever talks about this because it gets you banned. So look, you know, two things can be true at the same time. You can go ahead and talk about the jihadis and the radical Muslims. Fair, no problem. But we have to be honest and also say that there's a radical problem as well. And that's what everyone is terrified to actually address.
So I haven't really got into the whole Israel thing too
Sure.
much. I have a buddy. Do you know who Nux Taku is?
No.
Damn. One of the best out there.
Okay.
And so I hear a lot of pro stuff.
Sure.
I haven't really heard from someone who's well researched about why are the issue. So if you were to explain to me, as a guy who would admit that they're quite ignorant on that subject, what would that be if you were to explain why the problem?
Well, I'll angle it from the America First perspective. And then if you want to go deeper into the lore, we can do that. But I'll simplify it this way. They have an enormous amount of representation and power in the United States that they utilize to the benefit of a foreign nation that puts us in a precarious situation geopolitically.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
If I was to put it nice and succinctly in one sentence, that's basically the root of the problem.
The ability to do that is so important.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made that short and sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
because a lot of people like spurg out on it and like they'll just like go into random rants. But like, that's basically the problem. Like right now, this war in Iran, like we are fighting that for the, and anyone that disagrees with me, go ahead and search Marco Rubio, search, you know, preemptive attack, and you're going to see Marco Rubio admits, he probably shouldn't have admitted this, but the we're going to attack the Iranians no matter what. And the Iranians warned the United States and Israel that if either Israel or the United States attacked Iran, they were going to retaliate against both. So when they said we're going to attack no matter what, that dragged us into the war. That is why Trump had to get involved and, you know, go ahead and get involved in this war. And now we're in a political quagmire, bro. Because, like, look, Fox News is going to tell you you're winning the war. We are losing this war in every single way. Do not fall for the propaganda from Fox News, because it's important for people to understand. And I know some people in your chat might not be aware of this stuff, so I'll kind of like explain this in a simple way. Wars are fought to impose your political whim on another group of people from a strategic purpose. This war, before the war, the Strait of Hormuz was open. All the bases were fully functional in the Middle East. We had great relationships with our allies in the Middle East, and we weren't that pissed off at NATO. Since the war's begun, 20% of the world's energy has pretty much been cut off. Iran has been making a bunch of money. Yes, we destroyed their Navy and their Air Force, but that doesn't matter because that was never the problem in the first place. Now they're rushing towards a nuclear bomb. All of our allies in the Gulf are pissed off at us. All of our military bases in the region are gone. And quite frankly, now Iran has us by the balls because they're like, look, we're not going to negotiate with you guys until you guys lift the sanctions, get your bases up out of here, so we lose our ability to be in the Middle East. We're going to continue to have people go through Strait of Hormuz and pay us. And if you don't, we're just going to keep attacking your allies in the Gulf, make you look weak. And what this war has basically done is it's created an energy crisis. It's humiliated us geopolitically because we can't even defend our allies that we claim to defend. It's made us look like clowns. And then we're spending an enormous amount of money to fight this war, like $2 billion a day. So strategically speaking, we are losing this war. Yes, we're blowing up Iran. Yes, we destroyed their Navy. Yes, we destroyed their Air Force. But that doesn't matter because their ballistic missile program is the real danger. There's hundreds of them underground that we don't have the bunker busters to get into and destroy. And even if we destroy one or two of them, it doesn't matter. There's hundreds of them all over the country. Iran's a big country, bro. It's like the size of Western Europe with 90 million people, and they have an army that's 1 million people. And we're not going to effectuate the regime change that they want without boots on the ground. So it'd be in Iraq, but like 10 times worse. So strategically speaking, we are losing this war in every single way because we are worse off right now than we were prior to the war. And now we're trying to negotiate for pre-war conditions. Anytime you're trying to negotiate for pre-war conditions, you lost the war.
That's a very interesting perspective. Why doesn't America just nuke the out of them?
Good question. If the United States nuked Iran, this is what would happen. They would blow up the entire Gulf. They destroyed the desalination plants all across the Gulf. Now, in the Gulf, desalination plants, basically what they do is they take the salt water and make it, potable and drinkable. And obviously it's in the desert, and that's where all their water comes from. If you destroy power plants and desalination plants, we're talking about a humanitarian crisis where 50 million people live in the region. And these are all our allies, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, etc. So if we were to nuke Iran, they would destroy the Gulf completely. And we're talking about a humanitarian crisis, an energy crisis. It would be very bad. That's why Trump has been very reluctant to bomb the power plants like he says he wants, because he knows that if he bombs those power plants, Iran is going to retaliate by destroying the Gulf. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, all these countries rely on us for protection, which we can't protect them right now. All of our bases are destroyed, and they're going to destroy Tel Aviv. So if we nuke them, say goodbye to the entire region for pretty much in the Gulf, and say goodbye to Israel.
Well, some guy in my chat just said Trump is about to nuke. He addressed it this morning.
He did make a tweet saying that they're going to hit the power plants and stuff like that. But if he does that...
Did they?
He said that he's going to hit the power plants if they don't do a deal. But I'll tell you, dude, if he goes ahead and he hits the power plants or destroys their bridges, the Gulf is done, dude. The Gulf is done. It's cooked.
Dude, I need to get more into politics, bro.
And I'll tell you this too. So the other thing with Trump, right, is that he posts on True Social, and what he does is he does this to like kind of, he's really concerned with the markets. And a barrel of oil right now, let me look, a barrel of Brent crude is sitting at, because anytime the price of oil goes up to, okay, so a barrel of Brent right now is sitting at about $92, which is still very high, dude. Anything over $80 is really bad. So we got to a high of like 140, 150 per barrel. Dude, we're talking about people's gas prices doubling. And when gas prices double, everything else goes up alongside it. The price of food, price of energy, like the economy suffers. And the thing is that that's just short term. So like if we were to actually nuke Iran, they would destroy all the oil infrastructure all across the region, and that would put the world in a global panic. We already have the worst energy crisis ever, and things aren't even really destroyed yet like that.
So what do you think is going to happen then?
As far as like completely, like my total,
yes.
well,
yeah. So Trump's not going to nuke them.
If he doesn't nuke them,
if he does, so if he doesn't nuke them, what do you think is going to happen with Iran and America?
So to be honest, dude, the U.S. is going to have to concede on some stuff if we actually want to have like a diplomatic end to this, where we can like have some semblance of like affordable. Because here's the thing that people don't understand: the American public is who's going to suffer from this. When the cost of a barrel of oil hits $100 plus, everyone's going to feel that, because your gas prices go up and then your food costs go up and everything else goes up alongside it. Energy and everything else. And here's another thing too that no one's talking about. Iran has been making money because guess what? We lifted the sanctions off Russia and off Iran. So the very country we're fighting a war against, that we've sanctioned into hell, like we've lifted sanctions and people could buy their oil now. So they're making money. It's like we've completely strengthened our enemies. We've strengthened China, we've strengthened Russia, we've strengthened Iran in this war, despite the fact that we destroyed a lot of their infrastructure. But I think if we want to have some time of amicable end to this, where the world doesn't end and like we're not like, paying $10 a gallon of oil, we need to come up with some kind of diplomatic solution and work with the Iranians and like stop letting the dictate our foreign policy, because they are sabotaging a lot of the diplomacy. Like they're still bombing in Lebanon when there's supposed to be a ceasefire. They're shut up.
I am so uneducated on this topic.
It's all good, man. And that's fair, bro. Like, and I really appreciate you allowing me to kind of explain this, because this is a very hot button topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about, because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Because in order to talk about this topic, you have to understand power in America. And that's a very taboo topic that a lot of streamers don't want to discuss, because it'll get you banned.
For me, I don't really give a what anybody ever talks about. I'm down to have a discussion about everything. For me, I think about life is all about hearing other people's point of view, so I don't care. I just think it's interesting. I like knowing how people feel and why they feel it. I'm at least glad that you were able to say, I feel this way because, rather than
and like, and I'm looking at some people in your chat, right? And like, they're like, oh, this is off, whatever. Like, prove what I said is wrong. Like, nobody can prove what I said is wrong. Like, literally, we're in the middle of the worst energy crisis ever. Gas prices are going up. Before the war started, a barrel of oil was like 60 to 50 bucks, right? Strategically, we are losing this war. And like every war analyst actually agrees with me. If you look at like someone like experts, Robert Pape, John Mersheimer, Colonel Douglas McGregor, like anyone that understands, you know, conflict, strategic warfare, etc., like they're all saying this is a big L for the United States. Like, unless you're an idiot on Fox News and like you can't go against what the president is doing, like anyone that has any type of real geopolitical awareness understands that this conflict is a major L for the United States. So, you know, and the only people that don't understand that are like that watch Fox News every day, that don't understand geopolitical affairs, because most Americans are stupid, let's be honest. Like, they don't know where anything is on a map. They don't understand Middle Eastern foreign policy. They don't know who really runs this country, and that's fine. I get it. But I love, like, I'm looking at some of the people in your chat, and it's like, prove me wrong. None of you guys can prove me wrong. So
yeah, I even heard that some Americans don't even know when World War II was.
No, they don't, dude. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't know what the Balfour Declaration is. They can't point Israel on a map. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I've debated on this too. I did a debate with Dinesh Souza. Absolutely cooked him on this topic. Like, because he couldn't. The defensive is an indefensible position. We get zero strategic benefit from aligning for Israel. And this is why Zionists are terrified to talk to people like me, Nick Fuentes, etc. Because once you understand this stuff and you know what it is, it's like an indefensible position. Like, there's no benefit supporting Israel at all. It puts us in a very bad spot. If you don't mind, there's a in your chat called Trailer 606. I want to prove to you how stupid people are. Trailer 606, explain to me. Explain to me what benefit we get from working with. Because
you argue with them, I'm gonna go piss.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. This one idiot in your chat, the dude's name is Trailer Swift 606. I'm calling your dumb out. Explain to me how it benefits the United States. Go ahead, dumb. Let's go. Because the thing is that sometimes you got to beat up in front of everybody else to show how they are. So let's see what this idiot has to say. I'm talking to your dumb monkey. Go ahead, Trailer 606, you stupid. Tell me what benefit we get from supporting. What strategic benefit do we get? Let's see. They have stopped more terrorism in the past 2 years than all of NATO has in the past 10 years. Okay, who creates terrorism? Who creates terrorism? Have you ever read A Letter to America from Osama bin Laden? Have you ever looked at Dzhokhar Sarnev's letters when he was on the boat talking about why he did the attacks? Do you understand that almost every single terrorist attack is rooted in our support of almost every single terrorist, their top grievance is our support of. If we did not support the way that we do, terrorism would have dropped off by like 95%. You dumb. It's our foreign policy where we support unequivocally as to why we're attacked, you stupid. Do you see it? Just
I just opened my phone and I saw a clip of a clavicular making out with a chick's mom. Yeah. And then after he's done making out with the mom, then he makes out with the daughter right after.
Yeah, no, he did the chat. But yeah, no, I don't mean to beat up on one of your guys in the chat, but yeah, the dude's an idiot. He said, you know, just because we support doesn't mean they got to attack us. You got to understand, bro, that like we've been sanctioning the out of Iraq. We do all this because we have in power in America that run our foreign policy to have a dual allegiance. That's why they have the problems that they have. So you're stupid as and the dude's name is Trailer Swift 606. This is why,
Trailer
bro.
Swift?
Yeah, his name is Trailer Swift 606.
Yeah, but he said Myron is dumb as though.
I just made him look like, yeah, I just proved him wrong. He literally said, oh, his biggest argument was terrorists and everybody else. And I said, the reason why terrorists exist. Hezbollah, Hamas, the IRGC, all these terrorist organizations, guess why they were created? To fight. And then the best part about this is that was created with the very terrorism that he's talking about. Hey, Google the Haganah, Google Irgun, Google the Stern Gang, Google Lehi. These were all groups that were created Palestinians to create the state of. So what the do you think they're going to do back?
I would love to see you have a conversation with my buddy Nuxtaku. I think it would be very, very, very good content.
No, it'd be great. But like, this is why Zionists fear me, because like, I understand the dark history of this guy literally made the dumbest argument saying they terrorists, not knowing that all these terrorists were created because of stupid.
See, now I have to get educated and do research so I can participate in debates like these, man. I'm just more about like how the world works and how people's brains work. Politics, I still haven't really decided to delve too deep into, other than like, you know, current, you know, things like genderism or OnlyFans culture.
To be honest, domestic issues, like culture warrior stuff, domestic issues is good. Because once you start getting into geopolitics, man, it gets really heated because people get mad and they'll be like, oh, they'll say some you say the truth, like you're a third worldist or whatever, because like you understand foreign policy. And the thing is, the reason why I care so much about foreign policy is because only the president and the secretary of state, of course, control foreign policy. If we don't have a good foreign policy in place, we can end up in nuclear warfare. Like the world is going to end. Like inflation and everything else, genders and else, like none of that's going to matter if like we're getting nuked by Russia. right? So like that's why I care a lot about foreign policy, because it's one of the things that like only the president has control, and like you got to put the best person in play for foreign policy.
Well, Nux Taco, I give you full consent to react to this and upload it on your channel. I would love to know your thoughts on this, Nux. Really, really good. Do you believe that good exists?
Yeah, of course, bro. I'm not a like, oh, all are bad. Like that's low IQ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because let me be clear about this. There's like Arab Zionists that are right. So like, there's like idiotic guys that like support the state of that are Muslims or Arabs or whatever. Like those guys are idiots. So like, you know, as a matter of fact, a lot of the people that I source are actually like with their research. Like you look at people like, you know, Norman Finkelstein, Dave Smith, Glenn Greenwald. There's lots of like, you know, that like speak out on this are brilliant.